It's Tuesday, March 31st, and I continue to read and wonder my way through the prophet Isaiah. And today we're in Isaiah 51, verses 9 to 16. Yesterday we started the chapter, we heard a call through the prophet that the people, that's us, I guess, should be attentive. Like, pay attention to God. Don't just sort of shut down and assume God's not around. Be attentive. Look to history, look to relationship, and look at the world around you and recognize God's presence. And I wondered about what that might mean. And, well, let's see if we got more. So here it is. It's Isaiah 51, 9 to 16. Awake, awake. Put on strength, O arm of the Lord. Awake as in days of old, the generations of long ago. Was it not you who cut Rahab in pieces, who pierced the dragon? Was it not you who dried up the sea, the waters of the great deep, who made the depths of the sea a way for the redeemed to cross over? So the ransomed of the Lord shall return and come to Zion with rejoicing. Everlasting joy shall be upon their heads. They shall obtain joy and gladness, and sorrow and sighing shall flee away. I am he who comforts you. Why then are you afraid of a mere mortal who must die, a human being who fades like grass? You have forgotten the Lord, your Maker, who stretched out the heavens and laid the foundations of the earth. You fear continually all day long because of the fury of the oppressor who is bent on destruction. But where is the fury of the oppressor? The oppressed shall speedily be released. They shall not die and go down to the pit, nor shall they lack bread. For I am the Lord your God, who stirs up the sea so that its waves roar. The Lord of hosts is his name. I put my words in your mouth and hidden you. I put my words in your mouth and hidden you in the shadow of my hand, stretching out the heavens and laying the foundations of the earth, and saying to Zion, you are my people. And there we go. We've heard all this before, haven't we? Like, stretching out the heavens, laying the foundations of the earth. Remember yesterday, rocks and quarries and stars in the heavens and all of that. Yeah, we've confirmed God made all those things, which is one of the reasons that you should have confidence in God. After all of this is God. So why aren't you being confident? I mean, the case is made again and again by the prophet or by God through the prophet. So we're saying the same thing again here, it seems, and we have a conversation going almost. I mean, awake, awake, put on strength, O arm of the Lord. That's not God saying that. That's the people. Awake as in days of old, the generations of long ago. Was it not you who cut Rahab into pieces? This is the people speaking to God, asking God to awake, uh, to attend to them, and reminding God of how amazing God has been in the past. The very thing that God's been saying, think about the past. And now we've got words saying, yes, you think about the past too. Remember, you cut Rahab into pieces and dried up the sea and the waters of the deep and made it for us to cross over. We're being reminded again of the Exodus. And I've mentioned before, sometimes the poetry is tricky when you're not sure who's speaking or what. But this one, as I'm reading it, and when I realize it's saying the same thing that we just heard yesterday and the day before, this almost feels like liturgy. You know, if you attend a church like mine, somewhere in a Sunday service or another service, there'll be a back and forth discussion, right? There'll be a prayer where the leader speaks and the people respond, and the leader speaks and the people respond. Sometimes it's line by line, sometimes it's several lines, but there's a call and response thing going on. And this sort of feels like that, where the people are saying, awake, awake, put on strength, O arm of the Lord, awake as in days of old, the generations of long ago. They are playing the part of those who are feeling abandoned. Not that God has died, but God is not paying attention. God is asleep, or at least not attending to them. Was it not you who cut Rahab into pieces, who pierced the dragon? Was it not you who dried up the sea, the waters of the great deep, who made the deeps of the sea a way for the redeemed to cross over. So the ransomed of the Lord shall return and come to Zion with rejoicing. Everlasting joy shall be upon their heads. They shall obtain joy and gladness, and sorrow and sighing shall flee away. There's the petition. You've done this before. Come and do it again. Which is what God's been saying. I've done this before. You know I'll do it again. And then God responds, I am he who comforts you. Why are you afraid of a mere mortal who must die, a human being who fades like grass? Again, we were hearing this before. Fades like grass or is eaten up by moths. Like just the idea that there is God who is eternal, and then there are earthly powers that will corrupt, erode, fade, die. Uh, so yeah, we've got a ritual going on here. It seems like to me, it's the people say one thing, and then leader says another one, speaking for God, saying, "You have forgotten the Lord your Maker, who stretched out the heavens and laid the foundations of the earth. You fear continually all day long because of the fury of the oppressor who is bent on destruction. But where is the fury of the oppressor?" I think it probably continues in the same voice. The oppressed shall speedily be released. They shall not die and go down to the pit, nor shall they lack for bread. For I am the Lord your God, who stirs up the sea so that its waves roar. The Lord of hosts is his name. I have not put my words in your mouth, although this is liturgy. Actually, I have. But anyway, I've not put my words in your mouth and hidden you in the shadow. Oh, I have put my words in your mouth. Excuse me. I have. Can't read it properly. I have put my words in your mouth. Well, that's actually now kind of funny because it's exactly right. And hidden you in the shadow of my hand, stretching out the heavens and laying the foundations of the earth and saying to Zion, "You are my people." I could take this passage and make it a call and response, a back and a forth. It could all be sort of, the people calling out the first half almost, or the first, yeah, from 9 through 11, and then have God responding 12 through 16. You have to see the text to see what I'm talking about, but God comes in with the I am he who comforts you. So this could just be a simple exchange, but I mean, poetically, I could also break it into three or four back and forths, which is interesting. Um, Trying to think if there's anything else in this passage because I can go down a real rabbit hole with where my mind is right now. But let's go down there and see what happens. The power of ritual. We've heard Isaiah the prophet tell us again and again and again and again. God says to the people, "You shall be restored." God says to the people, "I am with you." God says to the people, "I know it looks tough." God says to the people, "Would you just please look back, remember, look at the heavens. I did that. Look at you. I made you. Remember Abraham and Sarah. Remember the Exodus." We get that again and again. I have always done this. I am going to do it again. So believe it. And we've had it so many times that you're going like, "Oh man, again, really?" But now we've moved it into a ritual where people are saying words. At least that's how I'm imagining it. I'm imagining that the people are saying these words. I don't know if they get a printed bulletin or a projection or they just know or they rehearse the words, or maybe there's a chorus in the crowd, as it were, in the gathering, and they speak for the people. I don't know. But I think there was a call and response from the people to the leaders. And the leaders are speaking for God and the people are speaking for themselves. But they're not grumbling to each other. They're not hearing the leaders say what they think they're saying. They are actually saying the words. Awake, awake, put on strength, O arm of the Lord. They are being invited to say out loud, "What is wrong with you, God? Why are you ignoring me?" The ritual allows for that. The ritual allows us to say all sorts of things. When I write like liturgy and like for a Sunday, the words that we'll say back and forth to each other. When I write those words, I write words that some people would not say on their own, but they'll say it in a group. I will have words like, "We are afraid. We don't know what to do." Um, we feel alone. Words like that that lots of people don't like to say out loud. They don't want to say that. I will say things like, God, where are you when we look for you? The very thing I'm getting here. And people will say that because we're saying it in their group and the leader said it was okay to say it. It's great. But if if they were on their own, they may not say those words. Even if they're entirely on their own in private, they may not say those words because for some people there is a fear that if I say the wrong thing, God will get mad at me. If I challenge God, God will get upset. If I disbelieve God or if I'm angry at God, God will be upset. And if God is upset, I risk punishment or being cut off. That's sort of a way we think. But along comes an invitation to say words that you might be afraid to say on your own, but to say them with people. And just the act of saying them. I don't know if you've ever been part of one of those sort of therapeutic exercises, or sometimes they also happen in theater, but just that therapeutic exercise of having conversations that you've never had before because you were afraid. Um, Sometimes it's having a conversation with somebody who's no longer with you, but it's like just to sit there and just speak. I could never say that. I could never say this to my father. But right now, I want you to pretend that I'm your father. Go ahead, speak, say those words, say it. And in the saying of them, there's a release, and that's a positive thing. It's like, I finally said those. It's finally said those words. It's an amazing thing sometimes when you hear yourself say something that you never thought you'd say out loud. There is a like, I said those words and I've not been struck dead. I have challenged God. I'm still here. I did it because the leaders told me to, but I did it and I'm not punished for it. That to me is a very big deal. When we say things aloud that we might not say otherwise, and just things that we are sometimes afraid to say. Um, but I believe it helps us. It improves our relationship with God. It helps us understand God a little better when we do speak our doubts, say our things, and discover that we're not damned for it. We're not suddenly on the wrong side of God. She said, "Hey, would you wake up already, God? For goodness sakes, just hearing this has been so hard. It's just, I am so not happy with you, God. Awake, awake, put on strength. Awake like you used to. As in days of old, generations long ago. I mean, come on. Wasn't it you cut Rahab into pieces, pierced the dragon? And yet, apparently now you're not doing anything for us." There are lots of people who'll be afraid to say that. And yet, here's the opportunity. And so you say it. So there's that value in ritual. Ritual also, I believe, binds us together as a community. We still sing in church, in my church. And I know singing in church is not what it used to be. Um, but just the act of singing with other people creates a bond. There's an energy that's shared. There's a sense of doing a thing together. And you don't have to sing well, but you just sing. And more, we're hearing of the benefit of singing, and that it's a good idea to join a choir, and you lengthen your life and you improve your heart health and you do all sorts of wonderful things, but you also bond with the people with whom you are singing, or in this case, speaking. You're saying it and you're looking around going, is he saying it? Or is he good? No, he's saying it too. She's saying it as well. And suddenly we're all saying these things, these brave words, and it makes us braver, but it also bonds us to everybody who's been a little bit afraid too. If there's a bond, it's a good thing. And where there's a ritual tends to be an embodiment. We have feelings, we have things that we're trying to resolve, and we don't know how to get, the words can't quite get there. Maybe even the music isn't quite getting there. Certainly our minds are it's just too much. But we go through the ritual. We go and light a candle. It has a meaning. It has a meaning. It allows our body to be part of the peace that we're trying to achieve. It becomes a vehicle for that peace. It allows our body to become part of the struggle, part of the conversation. It's one of the reasons that many of us have prayer postures. Like when we were taught at kids, hands together, head down. I mean, there's a humility in having your head down, hands together. I've always really loved that, and I can't tell you why that would be an important thing to do. But because I was raised in the tradition, I have that ritual, I feel prayerful when I do that. It's amazing. I spoke with a woman yesterday, um, whose tradition is different than mine. And as we were talking, as we began to talk, she was respectfully sharing with me a response, something I had done. It was a very positive response, but she just immediately went and started to tell me what she appreciated. And it's funny, as soon as she did that, I immediately had my hands together too, and I was bowing toward her, and we spoke that way for a moment. And it's interesting, we both felt, no, I'm sorry, I can't speak for her. I felt very connected to her. I felt that because we were doing this thing together at the same time, and the rest of the world around wasn't, it's not that we were shutting them off, but we were connecting to each other and not worrying about all of that. There was a connection that came because we were sharing a ritual. There was no magic in the hands. This does not automatically bring my heart rate down. And yet, it does a little bit because it's put me in the frame of mind of prayer. When I do this, my body wants to pray. My body responds. So the thing I love about ritual is it's an invitation for our bodies to respond to to what's happening with us spiritually, what's happening with us emotionally. I just think that it's remarkable. And so I'm not at all surprised. I mean, I'm overthinking this maybe, but I'm not at all surprised that we've been hearing the same message again and again and again. And now we're hearing it, but we're hearing it in the form of a ritual so that it's not just me now hearing the story and accepting it or not. I am now embodying the story. I am now playing a part. I am wounded by the exile. I might still be in it. It's really hard to place it exactly historically, but I am scarred by the exile, and I know that. But I'm now being invited to give voice to that. I'm scarred by the exile because it feels to me like God, you left me, you left us. Awake, 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 awake. It 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 becomes real to me because my body is involved. So where there's a ritual that requires a physical response, like moving the body, sitting, kneeling, standing, kneeling, turning, whatever it might be, folding my hands, bowing my head, um, I am able to embody these things, and becomes more than ideas. Um, Now, in fairness, you can still be going through the motions. That's true of everything. But when I am sincerely open to it and I take my words and I add the motions, there is a greater depth of connection for me. So this is what's happening for me in this story. And I'm embodying the story. It's now not something I'm hearing, it's something that I am telling, something that I am part of. So I am speaking to God, and God is answering me back because I'm in that space and I am saying, awake, awake, put on strength, O arm of the Lord. And then when we come to that part where someone is saying, I am he who comforts you, that you is me. That you is Norm Seli. It might be everybody, but when I'm part of this ritual, it is me. This makes it personal. Yeah, the value of ritual is strong for me. And it's intriguing because of course I am part of a tradition that is not known for rituals. Unlike, say, an Orthodox tradition or the Roman Catholic tradition, where there's all sorts of things that you do. There's signs that you make, there's kneeling, there's standing, there's crossing. There's crossing your lips, there's crossing your ear, like, and there's all sorts of things that you do. There's rosaries and all sorts of things that whereas in my tradition, we don't do that so much. And yet, we have our moments where we do some things. We just don't think of them as rituals. But if you've been part of a United Church, you know that if you do something 2 years in a row, then you are now bound to do it forever. It becomes a ritual. Um, this Easter, and it's funny, it's something that I picked up from the very first church I ever worked at, like had a full-time job at. So that's 40 years ago. Yeah, I think it is. Um, and I took it to the next church I went to, and then to the next church, and they've shared it. Um, and it's not, lots of churches do it, but not all churches do it. So on Easter, I had this great big cross, this big wooden cross with chicken wire all over it. It's really quite ugly and disgusting. And at the beginning of the service, as we're singing, all of the kids join me, and we put flowers in all those little holes, all the little chicken wire holes, until the cross goes from this ugly brown wooden thing into this beautiful, colorful flowers. It's a flowered cross. We elevate it, as it were. We make it a symbol of life. At the end of the service, we invite people to take the flowers. We now use carnations because there was a time it was daffodils, which never looked quite as good and were way more expensive. But now we use carnations, many, many different colors, and people will take them home after the service, and it's a meaningful thing. And something about that is more than just saying, "Hey, he's risen. It's Easter." No, no, we we not only see this thing come to life, but many of us, kids, but others coming too, we all participate in it. And so we bring this cross to life. We participate in Easter. It's a ritual that has meaning for us. So, although we don't think of ourselves as being overly ritualistic, we do have our things that we do. And they allow us to embody our spiritual selves, to engage that way. Anyway, I've gone down that rabbit hole, and so I'm not going to talk about anything else because I've gone long enough, don't you think? I do. So I'm going to offer prayer, and we can simply carry on with our day. So let us pray. Loving God, thank you. Thank you for ancient words that somehow seem familiar. Thank you for the opportunity to wonder, to challenge, to question, to speak, and to listen, and hear your voice, your word emerge. God, as we hear your word, may we be drawn to your word, and may we guide our lives according to that word. We pray in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ, through the Holy Spirit. Amen. Well, that's enough for me today, but I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Until I get to see you, God bless. Please know that God sees you, knows you, and loves you exactly as you are, exactly where you are. But God's love doesn't just sit there. It actually is nurtured in you. It grows in you, and it becomes the love that you share. So thank you for sharing God's love because it makes a massive difference in the world. And yeah, and simply thank you for being you. God bless you. See you tomorrow.